Republicans in Congress are working to pass President Trump's America First budget as quickly as possible. Over the weekend, the Senate passed another budget resolution, this one in line with the One Big Beautiful Bill approach. But some House members, GOP members, believe it pales in comparison to the House-passed version from over a month ago. So what are the differences? What's causing concern? And will it have the necessary votes for the scheduled vote that's to take place on Wednesday? We're here to discuss this. Congressman Andy Harris. He serves as a member of the House Appropriations Committee. He's also the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus. He represents the 1st Congressional District of Maryland. Dr. Harris, welcome back to Washington Watch. It's always good to see you.
Good to be with you, Tony.
All right, so not surprisingly, the Senate Republicans fell a little bit short of expectations for House members. Break that down for us.
So the Senate bill is a little more complicated than the House bill. So what it does, it sets an aspirational budget goal for next year of $6.5 trillion total spending, but that's completely unenforceable. The only thing that's enforceable are the instructions to the 4 committees for deficit reduction, and those sit at only $4 billion with a B, whereas the House version was $1.5 to $2.5 trillion with a T. So we think that in order to get meaningful deficit reduction, we'd have to go with something much closer to the House version, or see what the Senate intends to do with their language.
Now, the Speaker says that this sets up the serious phase of this budget reconciliation, that this provides the framework and doesn't necessarily dictate the outcome. Is that accurate?
Well, we don't need to set up the next phase. We could go right to the committees and ask them to begin writing the reconciliation bill. That's actually what we did in 2017. We didn't pass the unified budget resolution, which is what we're talking about now, until actually we had put some meat on the bones in terms of what was going to be the final product. That's what we should do now, because there's some of us in the House who just feel this is not an adequate amount of debt reduction when we're looking at a $2 trillion federal deficit. And again, if the Senate stays true to their word and they do deliver a reconciliation bill that begins to look like that, that's fine. We can pass that budget resolution at that time. But, I'm a believer in trust but verify. We need some verification from the Senate that they're actually going to have meaningful deficit reduction.
Now, the Republican conference in the House had a conference call yesterday, and I understand that there were a lot of concerns expressed in that call. A vote has tentatively been scheduled for Wednesday. It doesn't sound like there's going to be the Republican votes to pass what's currently on the table here.
I don't think there will be, and I think the Speaker should put it off because it's not necessary to pass this at this time. We should get to work. Again, put pen to paper. Let's see what the Senate means when they're talking about deficit reduction. And if it's in line with what the House has suggested, then we'll be good to go at that time. But I would advise the Speaker not to do it, not to put it to a vote this week, because he doesn't want to come up short on this, because we can continue with drafting those reconciliation bills without this budget resolution at this point.
So what do you envision would be the time frame for that consolidated approach between the House and the Senate? Because it obviously has to go through both chambers, and the economy is getting kind of antsy with the tariffs. The tax cuts are contained in this reconciliation, I think, which I would think are going to be essential in stabilizing the economy.
Again, Tony, I think the most important thing is let's start talking the brass tacks. Where is the deficit going to be reduced? And we can do that right now. We don't need this budget resolution. We will need it at some point in the future. And if the Senate, again, is in line, if their idea of deficit reduction is in line with the House's idea, then we can pass it at any time and then move the reconciliation bills forward. The only thing we can't do is bring a reconciliation bill to the floor without these budget resolutions being passed by both houses. But we're still far away from that. And again, I trust but verify. I mean, let's go ahead and see what the Senate means by deficit.
So what you're proposing, if I understand it correctly, Dr. Harris, is that the House should go ahead and put pen to paper and not just use the top line numbers, but actually put forward these deficit reduction measures, put that into a package, and then tell the Senate, hey, this is what we've got.
Yeah, and most importantly, we need to see what the Senate's got, because we know that we have to have at least $1.5 trillion and up to $2.5 trillion in cuts over the next 10 years. Their instructions are only for $4 billion over the next 10 years. We need, but they say, oh, trust us, we're going to have a larger deficit reduction. Good. Let's see what that deficit reduction is like. And at that point, we'll pass the budget resolution, and this will go proceed very rapidly after that.
I mean, I kind of see the budget committee chairman Jody Arrington saying this is not even serious. $4 billion in enforceable cuts. I mean, what do you think the Senate's thinking here?
Well, look, they claim they're going to be serious about deficit reduction. I just say, let's see where it is. You know, show us the money, show us where your deficit reduction plans are. And if they come near the House's deficit reduction plans, then let's go to town. Let's give the president his tax cuts. Let's put that deficit reduction in place. And we can do that in fairly rapid order. But again, it's not on the promise of the Senate because it's not enforceable. The only thing enforceable in the Senate is $4 billion. And I think Jody Arrington is right. It's not serious until we see exactly what their idea of deficit reduction is.
We just have about a minute and a half left, Dr. Harris, but I do think it's important when we talk about deficit, we talk about debt. You know, a lot of folks get lost in all these DC terms. But we've been talking about the imbalance between trade and why it's important to do the tough decisions about tariffs and trying to balance out our trade. Getting a handle on the deficit and our debt is just as critical, if not more so.
That's absolutely right, and the two are intertwined. You know, as we bring American industry back through tariff policy, if we bring industries back into the United States, we grow our GDP, we help our debt and our deficit. So they are intertwined, but right now we have to deal with the federal debt and the federal deficit, because these in the end could be crippling to the American economy if it goes too far.
Yeah, and I tend to agree that the Senate's not really grasping the urgency of the moment when it comes to the deficit and the debt. Dr. Harris, always great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us, and appreciate you and the Freedom Caucus.
Thank you.